So the next thing we need to look at is the scoring. And for our score, again, if we think about how it's going to happen, then making it is relatively straightforward. So if somebody identifies a prime number, we want the score to go up by 5. But if they identify a non-prime number as prime, then we want the score to go down by 5. You might think that's a bit harsh, but we'll have it as that because it's quite good to demonstrate these different things. And then we'll just have the total score showing at the end. So let's have a look at how that's going to be implemented. Now the score is under this thing called variables here. So it's basically we're setting up a variable which is going to hold score. So we'll just call it score and we'll say OK, and we'll have it for all sprites. So all the prime numbers and non-prime numbers are going to use it. And then once we make it, then we're given all these different things to do. So score appears right at the top here, and you've got to set score and change score by and hide it, etc., etc. So let's just add a score to 5 first of all. Now 5 is a prime number. So what we want to happen is that if Bluey is on 5, then we want it to do all of this stuff and we want to change the score by 5. That's what we said. So I can either type the 5 in here, or I can drag this over and then put the 5 in. And then all we need to think about is where this needs to go. So does it go right at the beginning, so the score is the first thing that changes and then everything else happens? Or do we put it after it's disappeared? Well, I'm just going to put it right at the top here. So all this is doing is it's kind of going to carry on, and then if while 5 is on the screen we manage to identify it by controlling Bluey, then score's going to go up by 5. So let's just run this to make sure it's going to happen. So it's identified, and you probably can't make it out, but my score here has changed to 5 there. And so let's just stop this, and now let's have a look at 6, because 6 is not a prime number. So what we want to do if a 6 is selected is we want to change the score exactly in the same place, but change the score by -5, so 5 points are taken off. So if I run this now, well, we'll notice a little anomaly here, but if we run this, but you probably can't see it because it's very small, but my score already says 5 at the moment because it didn't go back to 0. So now it says 10. So if I'm over the 6 and I've identified 6 properly, then 5 is taken off and it goes back to 5. But score really, when I've clicked on the green flag, should actually go to 0. So let's have a look at where we can set the score to 0. And one of the things that we set up is Bluey, actually. When we click the green flag, I mean, we could set the score to 0 on any of the ones, but it kind of makes sense to set it here because it's the first thing that's kind of, well, it's one of the things that's set up. So we can just say set the score to 0 when the green flag is clicked, and then go to the middle and then come to the front of everything, and all these two numbers are doing is just changing the score. That's all they're doing. That's really how straightforward the scoring is. So if I identify the 5, my score goes up, and then 6 comes along, and then my score goes to 0. And actually, if I click on the green flag, my score will stay 5, just to show, and this time if I don't click on the 6, just to show that we don't have that issue where the score was 5. So that goes away, and now if I run it, score goes back to 0. So that's the score bit done, and in the next video we'll look at maybe adding another number and a couple of numbers, and then looking at playability really of the game, so adding some music and backgrounds and things like that to it.